welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome if you're new here. For those of you who have not been here before, I'm going to be looking back and forth because I have people who are on Facebook who want to hear about this, and there's people on Instagram who want to see this, and my system that's supposed to stream both at once didn't work. So right now I'm going to be going back and forth between my computer and my phone. But after this week, my lives are going to be in one place at a time. So if this is looking odd to you, it's because I'm going back and forth. I'm going to hold on here because I'm getting a message from Instagram. Okay, all right. I'm going to repeat that just because I'm not sure that Instagram got this before. I'm looking back and forth between my phone and my computer so that I can get the people who want to watch who are on Facebook and the people who are on Instagram. But after this week, I'm going to be doing one place at a time. So if you're here, welcome. If you're new, welcome. If you're watching again that you've watched before, welcome back. And hi to those of you who are here. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching live, say hi. If you're watching this on replay, type #replay in the comments. And let's get going. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, quick introduction. I'm Gail Miller. I'm a physician and life coach. My practice of life coaching is empowering women who are childless, not by choice, to live fulfilling lives and manage triggers, feel whole again. Tonight's topic, I know this has been a tough week. Mother's Day itself is a hard day, but the time leading up to it is difficult as well, with all the ads about Mother's Day coming up and the social media posts about people, what they're going to be doing, what their kids are doing for them. It can be incredibly painful as Mother's Day itself. So I know this is a really tough time for many of you. And tonight we're going to be talking about Mother's Day in terms of being childless, not by choice, and your own mom, your relationship with your own mom. That can add a lot of complexities to the day. Some of you have great relationships with your mom, but may be wondering how to honor her, celebrate her, and take care of yourself this day. Some of you may not have such great relationships, and it's a struggle figuring out what you do so that you don't, create any trouble, don't hurt yourself. And it's just sometimes the relationship is so difficult to figure out how to navigate those waters. And then some of you no longer have mom around, and you're dealing with grief of not having your mom, as well as the grief of being childless, not by choice. So there are so many layers to this, and it's not straightforward in terms of, just be there for your mom. So, the emotions that are coming up just from being childless, not by choice are hard enough. And then when you add in the concerns you have with your own mom, and for some of you, you have a great relationship, but you are feeling guilty because you want to be able to give your mom a grandchild. And so there's really so many layers of strain and pain that come with this holiday. And all of these things can make the pain of Mother's Day that much brighter, much more exaggerated and painful. So if that's you, if that's where you are, know that you are not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. This is your reality. Your emotions are real. Your pain is real. Pain is pain. Don't minimize it. But know you're not alone. And there are some things you can do to survive this day and maybe even thrive. All right, so the first thing I want you to think about is how are you going to honor yourself? So the reason this is so important to me, and where this came from, for those of you who haven't seen me before, where this came from, how I'm bringing this up, is someone I know who is a mom, but her husband never honors her on Mother's Day. Their son isn't able to because he has some limitations, and as he's gotten older, he's had the example set by his dad, who doesn't do anything for her. And she decided one year, why do I have to wait for them? Why do I have to wait for someone else to honor me? And she decided to start doing Mother's Day the way she wants it done, doing for her what she would like them to do, but they won't. So she takes care of herself. All of us can do that. So I want you to think about where Mother's Day came from in the first place. And it actually came from a woman, and I talked about this before, but I want to bring it up again to put this holiday, this incredibly difficult day, into perspective. It started initially as a day a woman scheduled a time to, it was right after the Civil War. No, we're not doing a whole history. And I am not going to be, talking about the Mother's Day through the years. It's just a very quick, where did this come from? She started this day as a way to bring the mothers who'd had injured and killed soldiers from both sides together. And then it was just one day, 1 year to do that. And then after her own mom died, she decided she wanted a national holiday to honor women because she saw so much bias in the world in terms of honoring only men. So she enlisted the floral industry, and they got the national holiday started, and then it got away from her. It was something where all of the candy industry, the greeting card industry, they all recognized what a fabulous way to make money. And it turned into this very commercialized day that wasn't at all how she intended. She intended it to be a personal day among families to honor women. Got out of hand, and then she started fighting to get rid of the holiday. She went through her inheritance, part of her inheritance to do that. She got arrested at one point as part of her, in the midst of this whole campaign to get rid of Mother's Day, because it wasn't supposed to be this day that's about selling things and corporations making money. It was a day that was meant to honor women. So think about that. The origin of this holiday was to honor women. You don't have to have a child to honor yourself. You are worthy. You have an innate worth that has nothing to do with your fertility status or your marital status. You are worthy no matter whether you are single, married, partnered in some way, whether you have a child or don't have a child. Most of you who are here do not have children. There's no reason why you can't honor yourself that day. Now, what does that mean to honor yourself? It means whatever it is that is meaningful to you that will help you to honor your own well-being. So that could be going for a hike. It could be going shopping. It could be, having a girls' day out if you have other friends who don't have children. It could be staying at home and binging on Netflix, or getting into bed and pulling the covers over you. Honor yourself based on your own needs. There's no right or wrong. So you start with figuring out what is it that you need for that day. Also, but think about it. This is something where you're like, well, I want to go out to lunch with friends. Is there some way you can go out to lunch where you're not going to be surrounded by families that may be triggering you because they're celebrating women in a way that's different than how you are celebrating yourself or how you want to be celebrated? So keep that in mind. For some of you, it's a spa day, but also consider, like, you're going to be in the waiting room with women who are there, moms and daughter pairs. Is that going to make it more painful for you? Would you rather, if a spa day is your thing, do you want to do it the day before or the day after? But figure out what your needs are. And then we go from there in terms of adding in your own mom. What I'm going to go with next is for those of you who no longer have your mom around, who are grieving that, because I want you to get these tips, but then also be able to leave after that, because then I will be talking about, for those of you who have your mom around and want to honor her, or have your mom around and it's a challenging relationship. I want you, if that is going to be painful for you, triggering for you, I want you to be able to get these tips and then be able to leave and not have more hurt added to your this holiday. So if your mom is no longer alive, you are grieving her, think about what it is that she would want you to do for her in a way that honors you. If you had this wonderful relationship with your mom, there's a good chance she would want you to take care of yourself. So what this means is, if you are going to honor her in a way that's going to put you in a situation that's more triggering regarding your childlessness, figure out a way to do that that's not adding to that pain. So if you are going to do something in her honor, like, you're going to go visit her gravesite, or if she had ashes spread, and there are going to be families around doing the same, then do it on a different day. But think through, what is it that she would want for you? How would she want you to honor yourself? So it is possible to honor what you need for the day as well as honor her. It doesn't have to be on Mother's Day. You can honor her on another day if you need to spend the day under the covers in bed or binging on whatever you're binging on. But remember, think about what she would want for you and your own well-being. So there are many ways you can honor her. And again, none of these have to be done on Mother's Day. She is not going to be aware that this is the day. You will be, but you need to take care of yourself. So start with, is there a cause that is important, would have been important to her? Maybe a nursing home, a hospital, animal shelter, a botanic garden. Is there some cause that you can volunteer for that in her honor? Is there someone whose kids aren't around? Is there a neighbor who's alone who you can spend time with to just be there and talk, or bring them a meal? But volunteering has such positive benefits to depression and anxiety and giving you a sense of purpose. So find a way, if this feels right for you, to volunteer in your mother's name, in her honor. Again, it doesn't have to be on Mother's Day. Make a donation. There is no amount that is too small. It is the thought of the donation that matters. It's the idea of donating what you can. So there is no amount that is too small, but you can honor her with a donation in her memory. Again, as I brought up before, you can go visit her burial site or where you spread ashes, if that's accessible to you, and weather permitting. Again, it doesn't have to be on Mother's Day. So if you know that cemetery is going to be filled with other people bringing their kids to, memorialize grandma or someone else, do it on a different day. Plant a garden. Finish a project that she may have started, even if it was a long time ago. Even if you don't have the beginning parts of it, If you know she had started a project, finish it, take it up yourself, and do that in her honor. Cook a dish that she loved. Create something in her honor. Maybe you knit or crochet or needlepoint, or you're a jewelry maker or an artist, a clay, you work with clay. Or maybe it is planting something. Maybe not, you don't necessarily have to be a garden. It can be, in a pot. If that is something that would honor her by planting something that would grow and remind you of her. Write a letter to her. Getting your feelings out on paper can be incredibly therapeutic. So write a letter to her, write if there were things that were left unsaid that you want to say, or you want to talk to her some more. You just want to talk to her. You want to be able to tell her what you're going through. Write a letter to her. Nobody else is going to see it. You can also bring it to, plant it by her gravesite, but it's not for anybody else. It's just for between the two of you, and it's incredibly therapeutic. Join a grief support group. There are many out there. It will help to find a grief support group where they acknowledge that they include disenfranchised grief, because part of your grief is the loss of your mom. Part of the grief is the loss of the dream of motherhood. And that is, for many people, that's not something that they can understand, that the grief that comes with it, because it's not a human you can touch and feel. And for some people to wrap their heads around that that's something to grieve is difficult. Many of you may have heard things like, you can't miss something you never had. Yes, you can. So it is helpful if you can to find a grief support group. If you have to, it can be online. That will not only allow you to be there to grieve your mom, but also to deal with the grief of your childlessness. Okay, so to sum up what to do when you're grieving your own mom, start by making a plan for what you need. Then make a plan to honor her and think about how she would want you to take care of yourself on Mother's Day. So that may mean that you do whatever you're doing in her honor at a different time. It can be done anytime. It doesn't have to be on that day. Okay, so now I just want to kind of give a little bit of a break so that for those of you who have lost your mom, and it's triggering or painful to hear about what to do for those whose moms are around, I want you to know that's what I'm going to be talking about next. And so this may be a time that you want to stay away if this is going to cause you more pain, because that is not the intention here. I want you to have had these tips and be able to use them, utilize them, and not feel more pain. Okay. So for those of you who still have mom around, whether you have a good relationship with her, whether it's a estranged or a strained relationship, maybe you no longer have contact with her, or you do, but it's a very strained, painful relationship. Again, the first thing to do is start by honoring yourself. What do you need for that day? Again, do you need to go do something that is meaningful for you? Do you need to take time for yourself away from the world? Be it in bed with, a blanket over your head, taking a long hot bath, a hike, a walk, spending it with your dog. What is it that will help you? For me personally, I need to stay away from the rest of the world on Mother's Day. And I will talk a little bit about that afterwards and why I do that and how I found that has helped me immensely. But figure out what it is that you need first, because you do matter. And for those of you who are thinking, well, I can't, I have to be there for her. Why is it? I want you to think through, why is it that you think only she matters? Why don't you consider yourself someone who matters? So you do matter. It is possible to celebrate her, to honor her, and take care of yourself. And there's nothing wrong for you with you needing that. In fact, that is healthy for you. Now, you also may be feeling guilt because you aren't giving her a grandchild. That's really common. I hear that from so many of you. So if this is a situation where you are thinking this herself, you have this good relationship with her and you are thinking, this is awful, I was supposed to give her a grandchild. Well, would she want you to feel that guilt? If you have a good relationship, if she is supporting you in the way that you need to be supported, you don't need to feel guilty. She doesn't want you to feel guilty, okay? On the other hand, there are many mothers who, we say, make you feel guilty. But the reality is, no one can make you feel guilty. They may say things that are hurtful. They may say things that, oh, you should have. I wish, why didn't you keep going with IVF? Or why didn't you do IVF? Or whatever those comments are. But you don't have to internalize it. The guilt you are feeling from your mom's comments, from your mom's behavior, are from your thoughts. Let the guilt go by examining the thoughts you're having. Just because she is saying these things, just because she is behaving one way, that you don't have to internalize that guilt. Oh, I just realized something. You may not be able to see me well because I don't think I have the light. Yeah, sorry. I didn't have the light on. And I don't know how dark that was coming across. But anyways, yeah, the guilt that some moms put on you, you don't have to accept it. Examine your own thoughts and recognize her thoughts, her feelings are hers. They're not yours. This is one of the things we work on with coaching, is to recognize that that's her agenda. Those are her thoughts and feelings, and you don't have to accept that. So let go of the guilt. If you truly have a good relationship, then she doesn't want you to feel guilty. And if she is someone, even if you have a good relationship, she may be making those hurtful comments and behaving in ways that make you feel bad. Let her have that. And you remind yourself you have nothing to feel guilty about. So don't accept what she's putting on you. Okay, let me look at my notes here. Okay, if this is a day where you do want to spend time with her. So for some of you with a strained relationship, you may not want to spend the day with her. You may want to. But for those of whatever it is, you really want to honor her that day, or you feel like you should, okay, figure out ahead of time what you need for yourself. What time do you need? Do you need time beforehand to get ready for this? Do you need time afterwards to recover from it? So make your plans. The plans are for the time that you are going to spend with her. Make those plans based on your needs. Yes, she is your mom, but you matter as well. Your needs matter as well. So, if it's a situation where you have a good relationship and you can talk to her about it beforehand, that is what I would do. I would talk with her ahead of time and say, Mom, this is, however you relate with each other, this is a hard day for me. I want to honor you. I'm going to spend 10 a.m. to noon with you, or 3 to 5, or whatever time. This is what I want to do for you. I need the rest of the day so I can take care of myself. Okay? Now, there are some moms in reality who won't take that very well. I want you to recognize that setting a boundary, first of all, saying no is setting a boundary, and it's helpful. So if this is a situation where you are setting boundaries, you are taking the time you need for yourself, again, tell her ahead of time in a way that will work for you in terms of limiting the discord you have, limiting the angry responses, the hurt from your mom. If that means putting it in a text so that you don't react, when we say things in person, of course it's more personal, it is typically better, but also sometimes we can't respond in a way that is helpful or in a way that we want to because we're stunned. Our brains aren't working because we're hurting. So sometimes doing it by text is really effective because if she responds in a hurtful way, you can take the time to breathe, to do this to respond to her at a time when you can calmly think of how you want to reply to her. And remind her, you need to take care of yourself. This is time you're giving her. If that's not acceptable, then don't spend the time with her. You can always make an excuse. You have other plans. You have an early day the next day at work you need to prepare for. Whatever it is, tell her in a way that you are firm, that you set a boundary and say, this is what I can do for you. If that isn't acceptable, then we'll do this another day. But what I suggest on top of that is to practice it ahead of time. Unless you are someone who's very comfortable with this, you have a strained relationship, but you are used to telling her, hey, this is the plan, this is my boundary, this is what I'm going to do. Take it or leave it. If you are comfortable with that, if you're used to that, that's awesome. But many of you aren't. This is kind of a new thing for you to speak up and say, I'm taking care of myself. So it helps immensely to practice ahead of time what you're going to say. And then also deep breaths. Deep breaths in and then, deep breaths out to calm yourself before you respond, whether it is in person or by text. I had set do not disturb, but I guess I didn't. Remind yourself that boundaries are healthy and helpful. They take care of your emotional well-being, and you matter too. So keep that in mind. And if that means you have to write it out and put it up all over the place in your home, if you need to put it on your phone so you bring it up, maybe that's your screensaver. Remind yourself that you matter too. Spend what time you can with her and have an exit plan. Also, sorry, let me look at my notes because I think I forgot something. Where are my notes? Where'd they go? Okay. If you are going to spend some time with her, it does not have to be out at a restaurant. That can be incredibly triggering when you are out with other people and everybody is celebrating what you can't celebrate. So try something like do curbside pickup, bring it to her, cook for her, have her come to your house, assuming her coming to your house is something where you're going to be able to say to her, it's the end of our time, you need to go. But don't do something for her that's going to be hurtful to you. For those people joining you, sorry, I'm going back and forth between my computer and my phone because I'm talking to people on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. Okay. The other thing to be ready for are those painful comments and questions that will come if you are joining your mom and or other family members. And sometimes those painful comments and questions come from your mom, and sometimes they come from other family members. It is always possible to give a general answer. Even you can't think of an answer ahead of time for every one of those things that people say and ask. But two, general answers that work for just about everything are, that's personal, or I don't care to talk about that. The other thing, though, is to have ready a couple topics of conversation so that you can change the conversation and move on and talk about something else, anything else other than your fertility status. And have an exit plan. If it's getting to be too much, it's okay to leave. You don't have to stay. Maybe you did plan to have 4 hours with her. If this is getting painful for you, leave. Know ahead of time. Remind yourself ahead of time, I can leave whenever I want. No one can force me to stay here with her. Let go of expectations. Some of you have moms who will be understanding of your needs. Some don't. Let go of your expectations of your moms who can't be there for you in a way that you need. Take care of yourself. Let the guilt go, and let the should go. The final tip is manage social media. For some of you, that means staying off of social media altogether. For some of you, that means changing your settings so that you mute some conversations, or you mute some groups, or you leave some groups. If there are friends who you don't want to unfriend or unfollow because if they ever look into it, they'll see you're no longer friends or no longer following, that's fine. You don't have to unfriend or unfollow. You can mute those conversations so that those posts about, oh, my kids are doing this for me this day, or look what my kids did for me, mute those conversations. And what I say is probably mute them for like 2 weeks after Mother's Day, because the reality is those posts people post after Mother's Day to show what a great day they had for days, sometimes for a couple of weeks after. So don't feel guilty about muting or friends and family who will post things that are going to be hurtful. They won't know that you've muted them. Okay, so just to recap, for those of you whose moms aren't around, start by honoring yourself, what you need to do for your own well-being. Honor her in a way that's meaningful for her, that would be meaningful for her, and also takes into account your needs. And it doesn't have to be something on Mother's Day. For those of you who have moms who are still around, whether it is a good relationship or not, once again, start with your own needs. If honoring your needs means not doing something with your mom on Mother's Day, that's okay. Drop the guilt. If you do want to spend some time with her that day, do it in a way that honors your needs. Set a specific time to spend with her so that then you can have time honoring your own needs and what will be meaningful or helpful for the pain you're experiencing. And then manage social media. You don't have to. You can, just stay off of social media. For many of you, though, there is a lot of support in some of these communities. And so staying off of the social media won't work for you. But you can manage it by unfollowing people if that feels right, or muting them if that works. You can unfollow groups and then join them up again, or you can mute them for specific time periods. All right, so for those of you who joined me tonight, thank you. And for those watching on replay, type #replay. In the future, the rest of my lives are going to be in one place or the other, one at a time, either Facebook or Instagram. I'm not going to be doing the back and forth. And for those of you who haven't yet joined, on Saturday I'm hosting a circle of support at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. It's a way to connect with other women who are also childless, not by choice, to get support from other women traveling this same road. You are, of course, the connection is better if you are on video, but please feel free to join anonymously with camera off by changing you can change your name as well, so you can be completely anonymous. Excuse me. And so for anybody who does want to register, if you're on Instagram, the link is in my bio. If you're on Facebook, the link will be in the comments for this, the post of this live. And I look forward to seeing you there at the circle of support. Again, come as you are. It's Saturday morning, so come in your PJs, however you're comfortable. Come with your coffee, your mimosa, your whatever it is. And again, you can join us completely anonymously, but also know that this will not be recorded, and it will be nothing. It's going to be very private. Okay? All right, you guys have a great evening, and I will see you on Saturday, and then I will see you at my next live. Bye-bye.